Commission. Today is March 21st, 2023. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record show that all three commissioners are present. Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Thomas, Commissioner Stowe. Do we have anyone from the public to be recognized that's not on the agenda? All right, take a review of the bills.
I move to approve the bills that have been properly presented and reviewed.
I'll second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded to pay the bills as they have been properly presented and approved. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. Anything from our assessor's office today? Nope. All right, thank you. All right, first appointment is our 9/31 appointment, Buddy Turner, regarding the wrestling barn.
Thank you. I apologize for not emailing that up, but I wanted to give you a few minutes just as a quick synopsis of where we stand. About 5-6 years ago, we came in and talked about the future of the wrestling barn. We were all here. I think the commission's changed a little bit, but basically at that time, when we were talking to the commission, they're like, we'll start raising money because we were anticipating needing a new barn due to the growth of the program and the aged structure of the barn. And so we raised $25,000, and the barn situation is that I think that 3D drilling has tarred about as much as it can tar, and the furnace has been fixed as many times as it can be fixed. And so we're going to have to replace the furnace. So knowing that we were going to have to do some major renovations just to stay in a location that is no longer big enough for the number of kids we have wrestling. I mean, they're splitting the mat club practices. The high school team's too big for it. The middle school team's almost too big for it. We got all the coaches together and we said, now's the time. Basically, for 30 years, we had a promise of a home to wrestle. We had 12 wrestlers that placed a total of 18 times at the high school state tournament. And we had 4 state championships, 3 in high school and 1 in youth. In 2023, and this is what's changed since we were last in front of the commission, I said we were building a program and that we were going to have a program that would make black and silver in this county and this people proud. And we do. We have the most WSAZ placers for our middle school program. That is the biggest middle school program in the state. We had 3 place this year. We had 3 place totally in all the time we've had a middle school program. We had our highest state tournament finish for our high school team since 1996. We had 2 youth state champions. We had 1 WVSSAC girls state wrestling middle school champion. 2 of our wrestlers, our high school wrestlers, made the podium and finished all state. Our mat club finished 11th at the West Virginia Youth Wrestling Association state tournament out of 89 teams. 2024, we're better. Ultimately, we've got about a $250,000 project. We've got, and I put the budget in there that we've been working with. We've got a barn sponsor that's sort of, you got the land, he hasn't committed 100% yet, but we're supposed to have a meeting with him Sunday, but I was a little wrapped up with some familial obligations, so I didn't get that meeting done to make sure that. But I feel pretty good about the bond sponsor. We have a owner's rep to act as our general contractor. We have a company that will demo for us. We have a concrete company. We have one of our granddads of one of our wrestlers has a heating and cooling company. We have another one of our wrestlers. Their parents have a wood company that's going to help us out with cost and stuff like that. So we've got total right now as we're sitting it with the cash we have on plan, we have pledged, the pledges we have in addition to the cash we have on hand, and the in-kind contributions that people have told us that if we get the land, they'll do it. We're over $75,000. Okay, if I get the bond sponsor, we're over 175. We're over 3/4 of the way there. So what I'm here for today is on the very back page of the list. There's an outline of some county commission property where the barn's presently located. It's approximately 1 acre. I think when I drew it out, it was 1.02. But that is the location we talked about with the county commission prior to this. We would demo the barn. We would rebuild our structure. It's a 120 by 60 metal pole bar building bearing black and silver. We would reconstruct the barn right there. You know, the plan is that if we get the land, this week I'll meet with the barn sponsor, and if I firm that up, we will order the barn. We have construction completed by November 1st, which will be the first day of wrestling season. We have, go ahead.
Does this, in this plot, there's some wetlands in there and some different things going on, so is that different, because I'm having.
I went up the edge of where the cattails would be.
Okay.
We'd have to get a
Yeah,
survey.
that would be right there. That's where that ditch comes out.
Right.
That's
You're
where-
on that build up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
part.
yeah, I came up to the part that we had talked about before, staying up the hill from the wetlands.
Okay, all right.
So we would stay out of that. We would take care of the survey, the legal work for the deed. We understand that the deed would have to have a right of reverter. Preston County Mat Club ever ceased operating, but this building, this facility, would have 3 40 by 40 wrestling mats in it. You know, it'd be 120 by 40 wrestling mats. It would be sufficient for our high school team and our middle school teams to practice at the same time on that location, and it would be sufficient so that our mat club wouldn't have to have 2 practices a night, which was when I was the head mat club coach. We had the first practice from 6 and the second practice from about 7:30 to 9, because we couldn't fit all the kids on the mats. That would alleviate that problem. All told, you've got about 30 to 40 kids on the high school program that would take part of this. You've got about 20 to 25 kids in the middle school program that take part of this, but most importantly for us is the mat club, which is usually over 50, but it varies. I mean, it starts with 60 or so, and then as the season goes on and you get banged and you know the parents burn out, you get down to somewhere between 30 and 40. But generally speaking, I can come in here on any given day and I can say we've got approximately 100 Preston County youth that are using this facility. In addition, we have in the past, we've let the various cheerleading squads go in as long as they don't wear shoes on the mat, but they could do their tumbling and stuff in there. We've also would allow the high school team, cheerleading squad to be able to use it, any of the cheerleading squads to be able to use it just to be on the mats as long as there wasn't wrestling there. So, I mean, that's something that we've historically done in the past, and we've continued doing. We've been a good steward, as the county commission has asked us to do. We've taken care of the building, we've paid insurance, we've paid utilities, we've done the things we were asked to do 5 years ago, and I know maybe most, if not all of you, weren't on the commission at that time, to do this, what I'm going to do now, and that's this. One, we would ask for the county commission's approval for the 1.0 acres, more or less, to be given to the Preston County Mat Club with a right of reverter. And I would ask you for the same thing that you asked us and that I've asked the Board of Education. I asked the Board of Education to match us, match our 25. I'm asking the county commission to do that too, match our 25. We are very close, but this is going to be a team effort to build a facility that can serve multiple sports teams over the next 25 years. It's a very small investment to our youth. For the next 25 to 50 years, we'll be able to use this structure. And we've proven ourselves and did what we said we were going to do. We took care of the facility. We built a program that this county could be proud of, and we need to take it to the next level. We anticipate having 150 kids wrestling because this is going to be the new bright shining place up there. These kids put in countless hours of work. We laugh a little bit about, wrestlers, but there are multiple wrestlers that will get up at 5 o'clock in the morning before the state tournament and during the summer, and they'll go up and they'll just drill. They have dedication like many of our children do. It's just different times. We have our FFA and kids are getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and feeding and doing stuff like that. And baseball kids are traveling all over the country. Our wrestlers, this is where they go. They have to have a mat, and this is going to give them what they can do to succeed in the future. And with this small investment that we're asking as far as land and the $25,000, not out of any of the constitutionally mandated funds, out of coal severance or some other funding. I know that you guys are still having those numbers coming in. We can continue to build a program that is going to keep showing up in the newspaper like it has been the past few months. So with that said, I'm ready to answer any questions the county commission might have, and I appreciate the time given to me today.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank all of you for coming. Definitely since the last time you came before the commission, you did the homework that was asked, and the presentation is, impressive, and I appreciate that. A couple things.
Yep.
First of all, is the Board of Ed ready to commit their 25?
I haven't got that. They didn't have a meeting until the 27th.
Okay.
I have talked to multiple boards of education members. I believe, I cannot say they are pledged, but I believe if they could find the funding, that they will approve it. Because basically we'd asked them, the way I approached them was I asked for the $25,000 to order the 3 mats. So that way, those would be Board of Education property that would be stored at our facility, and that would take one of our a couple of our line items for wainscoting and mats out of our budget that we had there.
Is the concept of the design, from what I can see, is it gonna be the barn?
No, it's always going to be the bar. I mean, it could be concrete dungeon. We're still going to call it the bar.
Sure,
That's just the name. But
Now, on that, when the demolition takes place, is that building gonna go right back where that is, or are you moving it a little bit on the property to?
it's probably going to have to. It's probably going to have to cant a little bit. The angle of it's probably going to have to change. You know, I've talked to the Board of Education about using the student parking area, which is a paved parking area. Our parents use it now because we've got so many parents, we can't park there now. There'll be some limited parking up front. I believe there'll be a placard maybe for the head high school coach.
Probably
Something
gonna
like
align
that.
it more with the road, right? Align
Yeah,
it
it'll
with the
probably be
road,
more parallel to the road as the anticipated design.
Well,
And
I
then
think,
how much is the actual building? Is that this quote here for,
It's from Arco, and that is an insulated building. It's got 4 inches of insulation on the side and 6 inches on the ceiling. It is the same company that Mr. Dixon, who was our former high school wrestling coach, and I believe now an assistant mat club coach, because he's got some grandsons helping out. He's circled back for us.
and that's 61,000 altogether for the actual, is it still
No, it's
frame building?
It's a steel, it's
87,
87, I believe
Yeah,
it is.
87.
Yeah.
My apologies.
It's 87,000 total, but that is the same company in the same building that he just recently built for 3D drilling out along Dogtown Road. This is the building closest to the road. We went out and we inspected that. We've talked to the contractor who erected that for him. The only difference is our building's 20 feet long. So, but it's the same basic structure. And we've
So
also,
is a steel frame,
yeah, we do
steel
steel frame.
building? Okay.
We've also checked in, I know this is probably a question that the county commission would have, given the nature and use of our facility, that it's a open space physical activity facility. We're under the square footage to require a sprinkler system. We're at 7,200 square feet. It's 8,000 for, I believe it's an A3 or F3. I spent about 3 hours of my life figuring that stuff out. I was like, oh, okay. So.
just to recap briefly, the ask is for us to give the land to the 501c3,
Yes,
and then you will
25.
own the building that is constructed.
Yep.
We will not own it.
you will not own it. We will take care of it. We will do the upkeep. You know, we're going to have a new sign on it that says, you know, the sign I got 8 years ago that says "Welcome to the barn." We're going to have that sign up there. If the bond sponsor goes through, it's also going to be the name of that company. You know, with the big sign that says "Thank you" for that company.
But if the Mac Club ever ceased to exist, it would revert back to the county commission?
Yes, it would. It would have a right of reverter,
Okay.
and you know, so it would be a facility that, you know, the Mat Club. And just so you all know, the Mat Club has been around since 1985. Dr. Miller started it. It used to be Central Preston Mat Club, and it ran for a number of years, even through the 90s and the 2000s, as Central Preston Mat Club, before we finally changed it over to actually Preston Mat Club. But our parents, you know, the Youth Open has always been called the Linda Miller Open, and it's one of the longest youth opens that's being run in the state. It's almost 40 years, and that's Chad Miller's mom. And Chad Miller's boy wrestles for me, and you know, the same families that have been involved, a lot of those families, the Dixons, the Millers, the Turners, we're still involved. So we have longevity, and we did what we asked to do, what we were asked to do, and we hope that the commission takes it
What
positively.
I would like to see is, you know, it's a process and we can get through that. I personally don't have an issue with donating the land to the 501c3. We would have to have a caveat that everything must be complete and construction done within a certain time frame. You know, normally we do a few years, you know, even up to 5 years, and Lord have mercy, let's hope that it wouldn't take that long to get something like that done.
I'm going to have a whole lot of
It
people.
sounds
if I'm not-
like a 5 month.
Right.
If I don't have,
Yeah.
if I don't have the building down, the pad down, and the roof up,
Right.
so the people, so the kids can wrestle by November 1st, we may have to do some interior finishing with some interior walls and stuff.
Sure
But
have the actual building up.
I have to have the building up by November 1st, or you're gonna see me running through town with people chasing me.
Sure. And then the other part of that is, you know, that old barn is the county commission's responsibility. So I believe that we could look at potentially some funding to take care of the demolition cost to get rid of what actually belongs to the county there, and that would be our contribution.
Do you have a demolition bid yet?
Just talking to a couple various contractors, they've estimated it about 20-ish. I don't have a firm bid in hand yet, because I didn't have the land yet.
Then you would have a clean pad.
What,
30,000?
so, yeah, that's approximately.
Okay.
Part of that's for just the asbestos.
Right, that's what I mean, that's our building, I think that we should, help to further that process along, So, I guess what we need to do, because it does take a little bit of time
When
to.
do you need your decision by?
For the land as soon as possible.
Right.
Okay, because I have various people that say, you have land yet? No, they told me 5 years ago, they gave it to me. They're like, when you get land, you come back and talk to me. All right, I'll go get myself on the board, county commission, and make sure the Mac Club's got the land. And if I have something, it's gonna take a couple weeks to get the deeds and stuff done. But if I say, hey, I met with the county commission, and they said, yep, we'll give you that acre. I mean, it's public record business, they can check me if they really want.
It takes
Yeah.
a little bit of time, but I don't have a problem with that, so as far as the land goes,
With the land?
getting that part of the process started. So, and then, get us a good solid bid on the demolition, and we can take a look at finances and what we could potentially do there. But anyone up to make a motion
For the land?
for the land?
I move that we, donate, is it 1.1 acres?
0.08.
1.0 acres of, the county property where the current, wrestling barn is to the Preston County Mac Club.
I would second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded to commit 1.08 acres of land to the Preston County Map Club. Of course, contingent upon a lot of
A lot of things.
things.
Us paying for the survey, us doing the legal work for the deed,
Correct.
present the deed.
All that.
It'll take me a couple weeks to get the survey.
Part of that had been surveyed before, so
Right.
I know like that top to upper line, because I was there, the one that.
This
got
is our
surveyed.
discussion piece. Does anyone have any else thing to discuss on this? Hunter, good?
No, I'm good.
All right. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yep.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
I just wanted to, buddy, if you don't care, add a couple things.
Yeah.
A couple things are too, probably the fastest growing sport in the state right now is girls wrestling, so that's another reason. And I don't know how to say this, that sort of sounds sexist, but nobody's really ever felt bad about throwing their boy in that barn and letting them roll around in there with the place, but if we're gonna get more female use, then we need a nicer, cleaner, more up-to-date place, and I don't know if you all, when I was on the commission, we were looking at upgrading that barn.
Yeah, we actually did a blueprint.
And I think that was 350, what, like 350K,
Yeah.
Commissioner Smith at that time.
Just to redo the, existing barn.
And that was basically, basically for the bones up,
To get the barn just back in working order, so to speak.
HVAC,
I've been
everything.
in there multiple times. It's been terrible.
So I tell you what, buddy, we're, get started on the 1.8 acres, working with you to survey that off. If you could get us a, 1.08 acres, if you could, get us a bid, a hard bid, get a couple of them for the demolition.
Yep.
And bring that to us, and maybe that, paying for the demolition can be our contribution.
Well,
That's where I kinda wanted to go.
if I may, we may have, talked to,
We
I
have
want
a
to say their name, but someone in the government who works with, and we may have someone helping us with it. So if that's the case, that you would be willing to go towards the demolition, but we get that funding somewhere else,
That's fine.
Is that
that's
what you're-
fine, we'd be able to
That's
slide
fine.
that.
The
The other thing.
thing is, we gotta find the money no matter what, so.
Well, and the other thing that perhaps, this might be a reach, but if you wanted to, what I would see this doing is if we have a new facility like that, that'll be the only new wrestling. Most wrestling facilities are either 20, 30, 40 years old, or it's like us. They found a box somewhere and they got put into it. That'll be the newest one and probably the biggest one in North Central West Virginia. So you'll have people coming in and saying, look, we're putting something on for 2 days up in Preston County.
And if
Your
I would
hotels
tell
are
you
gonna,
that's
you
where
know,
you're
people
going with
come.
that, because
Probably
it's
a
a nice thing
wrestling
to have an
tournament.
event.
So I don't know if you can look at your
hotel motel funds and say, hey, this will be something that's gonna draw people in
Well, here's the
Preston County.
problem, Craig, you know this as well as I do. We don't have that many hotels from the state here.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna generate an enormous amount, even if we book every hotel in
It's
town.
not, but you may be able to use those funds that you're not allowed to
Oh,
use
I
for
know.
anything else. And
I
towards
know what you're
generating
getting
more
at.
of
I
that.
understand that, but unless somebody builds another hotel and gets filled up, it isn't gonna make a whole lot of
Well, it's
difference.
definitely
and I will-
something we need to discuss. It's
I will-
something we can't do.
I
right
talked
on
to-
day-to-day.
In West Virginia, there is a former world team member, like represented Team USA, won USA Nationals in freestyle. I talked to him yesterday, and he's like, "You're building that?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you care if I could like bring it and do clinics up there and stuff like that?" He lives in Fairmont. I'm like, he's like, "That's enough mat space. I can, have some kids come in." So exactly what Craig's saying. I hadn't even talked to Craig about that yet, but I talked to him yesterday. He's like, "Yeah, I
Would
use
that be
that."
revenue for the back club?
It would probably be worked
They
out
probably
with a trade. We would get some of our kids to be allowed to.
Yeah.
Like, we get 5
They
kids,
probably
or we
work
get a
a trade
reduced
off
rate,
hard
because that's
service.
typically how it does, like, if, a couple times if someone's come in, they'd be like, "Hey, I've got 5 kids I'm bringing in,
Costs extra.
I get 5
It
too."
costs extra
Right.
to rent it for the weekend, but we'll,
It costs
if you let
0.
10 of our kids go
Right.
to it, we'll just make it
Almost like a
something.
scholarship.
And
Yeah.
I purposely will intentionally make phone calls to the Board of Education because I believe they should invest some funding into that also. This is
Well, I asked
a
them for the
resource
same thing I asked you for,
that
25.
this resource is going to definitely help build that program. And I was always saddened that my son chose not to continue
So
because
was
I
I.
think there was some potential there.
There was.
And
Carson?
Carson, yes, and there is not a sport, I love sport.
Kim
There's
would
not
be
a
up
sport
for it.
that will get your heart pumping as that will when you're watching your kid
My
on the
father
field.
was a wrestler, and and he still does, even though no one can find a record anymore. He had the fastest pin ever in the state of West Virginia. He still holds that record. Some kids hide it, but they don't know that my dad did it. He has the newspaper article.
That's
A
awesome.
kid out of Oakland.
We get this bill, you find that article, we get this barn bill, that goes on our wall. As we have a wall of state champions, we're putting up a wall of college wrestlers, a wall, because we've got multiple kids right now wrestling in college that have went through this barn and this program. We're gonna have a wall of all our state placers for the high school program. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff we want, because when our kids walk in, we've got a history in Preston County that's only getting better.
Well, and one thing that I would like to ask, and this might seem kind of silly or small, but, the county commission through the years has not had a lot of funding to help organizations as such. And it's a difficult place to be in because you see with economic development and just different things, there's a lot of struggle because of the lack of funding. And a lot of bad things came from COVID-19, but there was some good that has come from it as well. Don't want to ever go through that again, but the funding that has come down, trickled down, has been instrumental in being able to give and to help build some worthwhile things in the community. And the only thing that I ask, because people tend to forget that this is the people's money that we're giving to organizations, and that the Preston County Commission just be somewhere that the land is
Absolutely.
donated and a contribution
That would
made,
absolutely be
because this is the people's money, and I
Well,
think that it's important.
No, absolutely, we're gonna have a sponsor wall that's gonna recognize all of our sponsors. And the other thing is that I would point out, as you're looking for the money, either for demo, or if we do get the other funding through the state of West Virginia for that, and we can shift it to somewhere else, is that it's my understanding from when I was doing the research that we would meet the definition of a shovel-ready project under the CARES Act. So that's a possible
Under ARPA.
under ARPA, sorry, under ARPA, because we would have completion within 1 year. So, we appreciate the county commission's time, appreciate the commitment. I'll call the surveyor when I get back.
Appreciate your preparation in this, and
Thank you very much.
prayers for your family.
Thanks.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Where are you having surveyor? and associate?
Either surveyor and associates, or I'll call Doug Bell or somebody like that.
I forget who did it the last time when they did it.
It's probably
It wasn't
Surveyor.
Surveyor Associates, but it's been too long ago. I can't remember the gentleman's name now.
I could pull the survey, but it's whoever I can get
But
it.
he'd already did the one side of it.
They did the line up to the east of the barn and the line to the south of the
Right,
barn. So they kind of
Yeah,
gave the
so it
line.
wouldn't take too long.
Yeah, and the other one's a road, so I mean.
Well, yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay,
very
thank
much.
you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. All right, we're gonna move right along. We've got 9:40, sorry we're running late. Appointment with Dwayne Hamilton, 911 OEM financing for 2 new Tahoes for the sheriff's department.
Hi, Jeff. Here, how are you? Good. Nice to see you.
I'm here today to ask that, we enter into a lease agreement with Country Road Leasing for 2 new Tahoes, which include, the price of the Tahoes as well as the outfit, half of the outfit cost. We've got Jeff Smell from Country Road Leasing. Jeff and I have been talking about it for a while. We've done our due diligence, went out. You know, the interest rates are going up, so we actually had Clear Mountain come in with a really good rate compared to what everybody else did. So we'll be going through them. And like I said, these are the 2 new, they're 2 Tahoes set up pretty well identical to the previous one we've done.
The only thing is, on this, it requires Linda's signature, and she is out, right? She's getting surgery done
She
today.
had surgery.
Okay, since I'm new here, can we run through this a little bit? So initially, you guys were leasing your vehicles through
Yeah.
Enterprise.
Which we still have some.
Yes, that's true.
We're
Okay, yeah,
shifting away.
working on shifting away, okay. That's a good way to put it. So now we're going through country roads.
Right, the county can't do that, so the Country Road basically makes it legal for us to allow through Clear Mountain. But
Okay,
the thing with Enterprise, just so you know, I mean, we went through Enterprise, and when I took, you all handed this to me, I went through their lease, and nobody could explain to me how the numbers came out to start with. Then you pay 5 years on a vehicle, and then you gotta turn around and pay more money to get the title back if we wanna keep the vehicle. With this, it's a lot cleaner. One thing is, the big thing is, you don't pay personal property tax on the dollars. If we go through Enterprise, we got into a mess. Kathy didn't realize that was gonna happen, it did, and we've had to pay that ever since. So this way, with Jeff and them, it's actually titled to us, so that means that we don't have to pay property tax on it.
okay, so that's why I was confused. So country roads makes it possible for you to get a loan for the full amount.
We
for the
can't
county
go to
up
Clear
front
Mountain Bank
vehicle.
directly.
We can't finance it through them.
Right.
So you're needing, and you're financing the cost of the 2 vehicles and the upfitting
50%
together,
of it, 50%.
all 50%, and then the 49 for
And just,
upfitting together in one loan?
yeah, it's all, well, I think where you, go ahead, Jeff, I'll let you.
It's all packaged together.
All packaged together.
The municipal lease that you got, that we're asking you to enter into, this is actually Schedule 2 to the master lease agreement that we did for the Traverse back in 2022. Once you have that master lease in place, which is the first 60
They
days,
all.
you get subsequent leases to that as long as the signees don't change. So this is our Schedule 2 to that master, so you'll see some dates reflecting the master date as well as the dates for today, pending your approval. Everything's packaged all together for the vehicles, and like Dwayne said, 50% of the cost to upfit them. E911 and Dwayne's department's gonna cover the other 50 for the rest of the outfit.
Well, we actually, just so you know, we got 4 vehicles, 1 up for sale. Should finish that up and post them
Yeah, he
today.
told us that.
That money will come back, and actually, if we get more than we're anticipating, we'll be able to pay
Going to
pay
the
down.
upfitting fund.
That's what we
That's what.
already
we're working
planned
on.
ahead of time. Whenever we sell a vehicle, that's what it's going for.
Yeah, it automatically, like Dawn says, goes into
That was the plan all along, and it was, because we knew we weren't going to get an enormous amount of it, but we figured at least offset some of that cost, so.
which is, as you can tell, last one was 18,000.
Yeah, it's went up $5,000.
Yes.
Anything else, Dwayne, before we?
I mean, that's all, unless you have any further questions from them.
No, I think I'm good. At this time, I would like to approve the financing for the 2 new Tahoes for, the sheriff's department
Authorize president to sign.
and authorize the president to sign the lease.
I was getting ready to say that. I will second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded to enter into a lease agreement and authorize the president to sign with Country Road Leasing LLC and the Preston County Commission. Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
You're new to that.
yes.
As far as the clerk, since she's out, is there a second person that's able to sign that?
DD would do that.
You know, DD, not the deputy clerk or anything.
We're all deputy clerks, so,
Do what now?
so we're all deputy clerks.
I know, I know that, but I didn't know if somebody else could do it.
I'm sure we can.
Will
get
she
a
be
hold
up
of
and
her
around
signature.
tomorrow?
She has surgery.
What's your
tomorrow.
time frame on needing this in your hand to get everything going? I mean,
Just as soon as
today,
possible.
I mean, she's under the knife today.
Yeah, she's.
So-
Yeah, I
So-
thought it was tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
Yeah,
No, it's
it's,
today.
I thought it was today.
I thought she had surgery tomorrow.
It's today. It's today.
I mean, I think if you get it back to me by,
I can't see it not being back to you by the end of the week, honestly, because all right, it's, she's not even gonna stay the night at the hospital, I don't think. She's actually going there tonight. She'll be home this evening, so she should be able to at least
outpatient.
sign something tomorrow.
We'll get you a sign.
Even though we gotta drive it over to Miller Road to get her to sign it, we can do it, I think.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That'll
Or
work.
Dwayne can do it. He knows where she lives.
Not a problem.
Where is Country Roads out of?
We're based out of Bridgeport.
Bridgeport?
Yep.
Okay.
Started in
Jeff's on city council.
2010. And celebrated 13 years just a couple days ago.
Yeah, he was done.
So far, it seems like these tires are working a lot better. They actually, with having a frame underneath them, are a lot more forgiving with Preston.
Oh,
I
that's
like
right.
that.
I almost picked up a
Solid
couple
frame.
Tahoes when I was out in Denver from the NACO conference. They had these little die casts. The guy said, "You want one?" I said, "What am I gonna do with that?" I said, "Give it to the sheriff next transfer vehicle." But they had little ones. They're the salesman. They were all decked out in the police thing.
You know, it is crazy that the upfitting for 2 Tahoes is
Half the
almost,
price of the vehicle.
yeah, half the price of the vehicle.
But it does surprise what
That's
the
a
amount
lot
of
of gear.
crap they gotta put on that thing with the laptop mounts and the radio mounts and the lights and every
Camera
other
system.
flippity dang thing. Yeah.
Cards. fencing.
All right, Jeff, if you want to just double check and make sure I've gotten all 5,000 signatures signed where my name is. Make sure I didn't miss anything. And then Dee Dee, after Linda signs it, then you'll need the copies, right?
Or I can take it before, I will have it all signed.
Okay.
If you need to. All right, thank you all for
All
your
right,
time.
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, this time I'd like to entertain an approval of the minutes.
I would like to, approve the minutes for the 2023 Board of Equalization and Review, and the minutes for the meeting on February 28th, 2023.
I'll second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the 2023 Board of Equalization and Review and the minutes for February 28th, 2023. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. State settlement list.
I would like to approve the state settlement list for March 10th, 2023 through March 10th, 2023 for Malvin, Hawkenberry, and Orange, Lorraine.
I'll second it.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the estate settlement list March 10th through March 10th, 2023 for Hockenberry and Moran. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. PIVs.
This time I'd like to make a motion we dispense with reading of PIVs and accept them in the record for March 9th through the 15th.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to dispense with the readings of proceedings and vacation and open court session and enter them into record for March 9th through March 15th, 2023. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Yes. Nothing under the fiduciary commissioner report, old business. We do have a work session scheduled for Friday
Yeah, Friday.
at 9 a.m. For EMS. So tell your friends and folks to come on out. We're gonna get down to business.
What time is it?
For EMS, 9 a.m.
Okay. I don't have no more time for you.
Any other discussion for EMS at this time?
No.
All right. New business, county commission employee hire, and at this time, I would like to welcome Mr. Cecil Clarkson and take official action on hiring him as a county employee to fill our maintenance position.
Yes, Mr. Lou would like to have been here. We're kind of tag teaming this morning. But we are asking for the commission's advice and consent to hire Mr. Clarkson, effective April 3rd, 2023, at an annual salary of $35,000 with benefits.
Take a motion.
No. I make a motion, we approve the hire of Mr. Cecil Clarkson to full-time position as manager.
I'd like to second that motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded to authorize and approve the hire of Cecil Clarkson into the maintenance position effective April 3rd, 2023 at a salary of $35,000 annually with benefits. Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
yes.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
All right. Thank you. And you know that you need to go meet with
Crystal, I think.
Bristol over in the
You know
first
how
office.
to get there? No. Okay.
All right,
If you want to go and do comments,
Sure.
I'll come back to my report.
all right.
Yeah. Actually, I know it's under his name, but we could go ahead and do this resolution for fair housing. While he's out.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There's nothing to that.
All right, we do have a resolution for, Dwayne's taking it?
Dwayne State.
All right. Well, then
Okay. well,
We're just gonna do the
We're
resolution
gonna
where
have
you're
to
going.
move forward
We're
with the
gonna
resolution.
knock it out, but.
So, well, you do have that resolution for National Fair Housing Month.
It's the
And,
month of April.
and we will get that poster together and get it posted in the annex and probably over at the courthouse as well, on their bulletin board.
And I think
On our website.
Region 6 needs a copy of it
And
too.
we will get that to them.
Do we need approval?
Yes. I move that we approve this, the resolution to declare April as fair housing. Equal offer, fair housing law and equal opportunity.
I would like to second that motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve this resolution dedicating April as Fair Housing Month. Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
yes. Do you have one that
You
we
can.
we can
you
sign this
use
one?
that
Probably
copy.
sign any one of them, I guess.
Just making sure you didn't have it on pretty paper.
Okay. Okay, what do we have next, Joe?
All right, 2 weeks ago, you had a visit from the Roseburg Revitalization Committee, which was requesting $5,000 in funding for promotion of the 4 major events in Roseburg in the coming year. So, as you can see, we checked the arts and humanities budget. We have definitely enough money in that fund that if you want to do the full $5,000, it is available through there.
Did they give any idea, and I'm just, this was like an afterthought, did they give any idea of how they will be promoting and cost associated with that promoting of those events?
We did not receive that information.
Okay,
They have generally done flyer promotion,
Newspaper ads,
newspapers and some radio spots.
okay.
I assume that's what they'll continue to do. And that's for all these events, that's for the
River City
festival.
Festival of Arts,
Veterans.
Veterans Commemoration Day honors, Chestnut Festival in October, American Chestnut, well, that's the Chestnut Festival, and,
The crystal market.
yes, Krista Market. Is that the
And
core?
the county commission has
That's
made
easy.
a, contribution in the past.
Yes. So we have-
To River City? I know we've done promotional contributions to Arthur Heritage, I know.
We've done it for Roseburg in the past. It hasn't been recent, because even Shirley
Yeah, I
said
mean,
that.
Roseburg
When
revitalization.
do these events, when's the first one kick off?
That would be Memorial Day.
Okay,
but
so
that's
I
what
do
it is.
have a question, I'm gonna ask that we put this back on for next week, but I would like, just where they're doing it and an estimate of cost associated for doing all of the events, because I'd rather give a specific amount, and not just a $5,000 lump sum if we're gonna do that.
All right, I'll have that for you for your next agenda.
Okay, that'd be great.
Just maybe a breakdown of where they're advertising and how much would be good.
All right.
All right.
So the Monongahela Conservation District, we had spoken about that briefly yesterday, and they are asking for an increase in funding for the mowing of the dams. What we discussed yesterday was that they, we would decrease the line item permanently, but they are also requesting that amount for the current year.
Right.
So,
And we can give them a, I guess, year did we?
Um,
I can't
the-
remember.
No, we
There's
always give it.
the standard $3,000.
Okay, so they want $2,000
For dam
more, okay,
maintenance.
that's what I wanted to check when I'm reading this,
Okay,
it almost
so-
sounds like they're asking
so,
for $5,000
Yes.
in addition.
So Joe, they're wanting 2,000
For this
in
current.
addition for this year, and then they want 5,000 earmarked in the 2023 to
Which we
4
did
budget
You are
for
correct.
next fiscal year.
Which we did.
Where would you recommend that we bring the $2,000 from?
This year, I would just pull it out contingencies.
I don't have a problem
I don't
with
either.
the $2,000
For the dam mowing?
for the dam.
We just have to make sure we get that right, 2,000, not 5,000.
That was my question, that was my whole.
Yeah, thank you,
question.
Don.
Make sure that, because the way I read this, almost looks like they're asking for another $5,000.
No.
So,
All right.
I make a motion at this time, we authorize another $2,000 to the Monongahela Conservation District for dam maintenance.
I would like to second that motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded to authorize the request for this current fiscal year for $2,000 of funding to come out of contingencies for dam maintenance to the Mon Soil Conservation District. Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Yes.
So, we have a request from Comcast for a letter of support. They are pursuing broadband expansion lead funding through the state. I spoke with their new public affairs person out of Pittsburgh. He said that there are several Preston County locations that are included in their
I
project.
think Roseburg is one place they
Roseburg.
service, so I can't remember where else. but I think-
North of Terra Alta, I believe, is
Okay.
another area. But they will be releasing details on the specifics
Well, yeah.
in the near future.
Do we have any discussion?
I'm all for bringing as much broadband in this county.
Well, at this time, I would like to approve this letter of support for Comcast to the West Virginia Department of Economic Development for the application for West Virginia LEAD Program,
I'll second.
and authorize the president to sign. Thank you.
It's been properly moved and seconded to authorize the commission to write a letter of support for the West Virginia LEAD program, Comcast's application for that program, and authorize the president to sign that letter of support. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And finally, Last week, we had a discussion on the issues concerning the sheriff's department building. And so you asked for an update, so let me say that actually while the discussion was taking place, the risk pool did send their report and estimate. So that is in your hands. Now that does include the money for the document preservation, sheriff's department, as well as all of the invoices, the personal property, the individual items that will come in on a second claim. But we should be receiving funding fairly soon.
Have we started receiving any bills yet?
Yes, we have probably about $45,000 total that's outstanding. The majority of that goes to Service Master.
Right, Service Master, and then we'll be getting some from Panhandle here shortly, I'm sure.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I would like to get things rolling, by scheduling a work session.
Oh, yeah, for the building itself, yeah,
For
I
the
mean, we
building.
need to do that, yeah. I know we've got a lot going on this week, so,
Next week, following week.
I mean, I'm not opposed to a work session on Monday, the 27th, if we want to look at that.
I'm pulling out my,
I don't know, I'll be available at 27.
Okay. So we have a meeting on the 28th, not sure what our agenda looks like that day.
You will have your budget approval.
Okay.
There are a couple of other things. It may be,
Are you guys on the 29th?
I'm good on the 29th.
As far as I know, yeah, we have that Veterans Day thing.
It's here at noon, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do the morning work session and we can conclude with, so I can anticipate a work session. Let's give ourselves 2 hours. So let's start at 10 so we can go straight over to the veterans
That's fine.
things.
Work session, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to, get a plan moving forward for the sheriff's department.
And get Joe in on that if you don't mind.
Yes,
There's a lot of things he should probably have prepared for that work session. We're not just coming together just to.
Yeah, yeah, we actually, yeah, we do need him to give us that because he's gonna.
Well, we have a rough number on the claims out.
Estimate on certain things that we're talking about, and also we'll be able to, anything that we're thinking about possibly doing, we can let him know, and then he can research
Well,
it
here's the
for
thing,
us.
we don't have the full claim amount, but we're good. If we want to start a rebuild, we are
Well,
fine to go ahead and
and
start that.
Look at the rebuild, I think all of us had already kind of, been on the same line when getting in over there and looking at the terrible shape of the electrical in that building.
It just
That-
needs to be
that
done.
isn't- The
And that
claim
wouldn't be
wasn't,
part of the
it wouldn't be part of
claim.
the claim, so
But
with
we-
having a
We could
master
have started that
electrician,
months ago.
master electrician in LaRue and our new hire Cecil Clarkson, they can handle the electrical rebuild over there at One County. We don't have to contract that out, so that's something that could get going. So we need to have that discussion with him. Cecil comes on board April 3rd, and so everything should just fall into place there. So let's, got that scheduled.
And has, the sheriff's department got their personal property information back to you?
if Tanya's completed it, she would have sent it directly to the adjuster.
Okay.
Double check, just send her a quick email if you think about it, just say, make sure it's been done, so we can get that
And,
closed.
Sheriff Pritt, I would like him to also be in on that work session, so we make sure he gets an invite to that.
Mhm, Of course, yeah.
Yeah, him or Melissa.
I think it's important that the sheriff.
I think it's
initially.
important.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
All right, any budget revisions today?
I also wanted to point out on the sheriff's department that IT Mindshare was the
I
other
saw that, yeah.
situation. I have to say that they stepped up right away. We did have that meeting on Wednesday, I believe. And by Friday, all of the major issues apparently have been resolved.
Sorted out.
There are still minor things to
I think
handle.
communication is key here, and I think that was not communicating properly of all parties.
Yeah, I think we dropped the ball and they dropped the ball. But now that I have that personal connection with IT Mindshare, I'll definitely keep in contact with them.
Okay,
Any budget
No,
revisions?
no budget revisions.
all right. Anything under miscellaneous correspondence?
No.
Okay, all right, I do have something under
Well-
miscellaneous correspondence, I guess.
Actually, since other Joe isn't here, I would like to point out that one has started and the other is starting tomorrow, but by Wednesday, we will have people on both roofs across the street.
Okay,
Roofing people are on the sheriff's department roof. Keystone is
The repointing?
unloading equipment this afternoon. They will be on.
It's supposed to be
tomorrow morning.
warm. I mean, it's gonna be a little wet later in the week, but at least it'll be warmer, so.
So keep looking up, you'll see interesting things. across the
It's gonna be busy.
I would like to request that the county commission give a letter of support for a T-Mobile Small Communities Grant that I'm helping with for lights at the Valley District baseball fields. Their cost associated with lighting the field out there is $52,000, and the T-Mobile grant would cover $50,000 if it is awarded. And so letters of support have come in from the Board of Education, the town of Reedsville, the Economic Development Authority, and a couple other places. And so I think it would be instrumental that the county also provide a letter of support for that project. That project, with the implementation of SSAC, WBSSAC sanctioned middle school softball, West Preston and other areas are using the middle school program, are using those fields, and they're very limited out there to being able to, you can only go till dark and then you're done. And so I just think the fields would be much better used if they had lighting out there.
Or then the fields I played on when I was a kid, right behind Reedsville.
Yep.
Okay.
In like a little cow pasture that was developed years ago, a long time ago. Early 2012 through like, I want to say probably 16, I was very active. My kids played t-ball and baseball and, and so it's kind of, I saw an opportunity for a grant for them, and I know a lot of the people that still volunteer countless hours, and I thought, you know what, why not try? We've been successful in the county. Parks and Rec got the T-Mobile grant was awarded and some different things. And so if you don't try, the answer is always no, right? So if you guys are not opposed to the commission doing a letter of support, I'd like it to be on the agenda for next week to approve.
Okay.
Good with that, Tyler? All right, we'll put that on the agenda.
Are you gonna get the letter of support ready?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
They should have a copy of
Yep.
something, I'm sure.
Yep. All right, perfect. All right, and then this morning I had a 911 advisory council meeting. I took on that this year since Dave's retirement. They decided today, which I was very thankful because it falls on the second Tuesday of quarterly, second Tuesday of the month. So that meeting always took place right before our county commission meeting, and sometimes if it ran over, it was a rush for Dave to get back. And they had already had it on their agenda to get that changed, because sometimes with Dwayne and Justin, they're on our agenda also for our meetings. So they voted this morning to change that meeting to the second Wednesday of every month quarterly at 8:15 in the morning.
Great.
So that will be a good transition, and we'll lighten up our Tuesday schedule. So very appreciative there. And today was my first meeting, and it was very low-key agenda because of what Dwayne and them had to be here this morning. So nothing really to report there. And then tonight I have a farmland protection board meeting at 7 p.m. This evening, and we're looking at a possible meeting with Mooney on Thursday concerning the bridge in Terrata if the stars align, the Bridge Street Bridge. And so I'll have further details on that at a later time, hopefully today. If that meeting does come to fruition, it's looking like very promising. So just waiting on a couple things there.
And Delegate Street's trying to get.
Yes, George Street is coordinating this, so that's good. As far as that, I think that's all I had today. It was kind of a heavy load this morning, and I'm just trying to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So Commissioner Smith, do you have anything?
and I saw the Waste Authority meeting this past Wednesday, and we're actually gonna fund some stuff for, cheap, for the Friends of Cheap, and it's gonna be for recycling stuff and everything, but what they're going to do also, as they've done this in the past, are making those containers that the solid waste authority is purchasing. It's like $8,000. No, $3,700 worth of containers. They're making those available to other groups, and back where their deals used them in Japan and everything, because they're foldable and can be transported pretty easy, and you're just fold them up and take them out to where they're at, so they make them available to, they're trying to make sure they have them available, and they're not using for their cheap bed, they'll have them available for other people to use. And really, the great thing about it is you just fold them up, put them back in the pickup truck, take them where you need them, and bring them back. So, and this week sometime, I'm supposed to be getting the Solid Waste Authority, I'll be meeting again, I'm not sure, I called yesterday, so I may or may not have to skedaddle at some point, I don't know, because I don't know what time they're delivering this stuff. Not today, I don't know, they haven't called me back. They called yesterday when we were in work session and left me a message. I called them back yesterday and left them a message. And I'm waiting for them to call me back and say, this one, we're gonna deliver this stuff. So once that's delivered, part of that is, and I need your help in coordinating this too. Some of that was to go out to the youth center, it's recycling, and I talked to Mr. LaRue about that, as far as, containers and things like that. So some of them will go out there, and some's gonna go to the Kingwood Parks and Rec, and some go up to Reedsville. So we'll, different things will actually, PC Parks, I'm sorry, PC Parks. So, and there's different containers, it's like almost, it was like $5,000 worth of stuff. It's amazing how much those things cost. But,
But are they recyclable?
Well, yeah, a couple of things. So some good county news or some good school news. The Preston School Boosters had their annual calendar party, which I've been helping for like 13 years now, since my mom started it years ago, and my mom's out of it now, but I'm still there. They raised $32,000 in one day. And Kathy, you were actually there. You won. What did you win?
A birdhouse, a set of lamps, and some maple syrup. My cat's already learned how to turn the lamps on because they're touch.
Yeah, it took a lot of your money.
You look better than the clapper.
I'm a good ticket seller. We had a good budget work session yesterday. That was my first one. A lot of good information, a lot to take in. The Friends of Cheat is looking for a part-time bookkeeper. You can reach out to Amanda to apply. I don't know if you guys saw that. We got an email.
Yes.
And then the Preston County Assessor, and correct me if I'm wrong, Connie, because you're the lady in charge of this. You guys are seeking applicants for the position of real estate clerk / GSI mapping person. And reach out to Connie, reach out to you, Connie Kimball, for information. What's your email? CLKimball@PrestonCountyWV.gov. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I had the right information. I know you guys changed it a couple times. But that's all I have.
Anything else?
Well, real quick, Jay, did you schedule the EMS agencies for this week?
We're going to get them in tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
What time?
Starting at
8:30.
8:30.
You good for that?
All right, anything else? All right, this meeting is adjourned, and we will come out of recess for our work session today at noon. Thank
Do I
you.
need to sign this?
There was no budget revisions,
Yeah,
so that's what that is, then.
Yeah.